everyone, this is David J. once again with Intelligetics, where we talk about all things interesting about data science and data analytics. In this edition, I'm going to talk about a fun little project I worked on. I'm hoping that it'll be a nice exercise you can look at for how to convert boring data into a meaningful infographic. It's just a simple example, but I was working on a project and had to perform this task, and I said, oh hey, this is a nice little discovery, I'm going to share it with you all. The good people at the Wall Street Journal, way back in May of 2014, prepared some information showing a comparison, very raw data, in one of their editorial pages called Heard on the Street, comparing data for world currency exchanges against the United States dollar between May of 2013 and May of 2014, showing two columns of data, namely the values for each of those currencies compared to the United States dollar in 2013 versus on that day, May 16th in 2014, with the percent of change. Now here it is, you see it there on the screen, it's just boring data, and I have the feeling, frankly, that it was just some filler. Sometimes editors do that. They may not have enough written work or new reportage about news, so they'll just put in a nice piece of information as filler to fill up the page, and they may not have sold enough advertising to do the job. So here you see the data. It's an area of interest of mine for hedging and interest rates and foreign exchange rate risk management, and I just have the feeling that this information would not be very engaging unless it really caught somebody's eye, or they were really looking for it and said, I want to know the comparison of the Great British Pound against the US dollar and how it did in the last year. They go to it, see it, and then they can think about it. But I just don't think that a lot of that happened. If it didn't happen in that way, then this is just encyclopedic information. It's just a data reference. If it's not seen, then it's not read. If it's not read, then it's not thought about. If it's not thought about, then it's really not good, valuable communication. I have never seen another chart like this, and I did research since they published it in 2014. My research was here just recently in 2021. So 7 years later, I'm not seeing another chart like this. So I just don't think that it was all that valuable or meaningful for Wall Street Journal readers. Now I'm going to show you mine. Compare mine, my little infographic, to theirs. I hope you can read it and get the sense of this. So I have a column on the left that shows the same data, but ordered by the percentage of change. Now that's meaningful. That'll put the data into context. It's not just raw data. And then in the spreadsheet there, for the world value of the dollar, I'm showing the ranking with a histogram of all of those currencies from the lowest rate of change, actually negative rates of change, where rates declined or decreased, compared to those, the Iranian currency at the far right hand side. Notice the difference. Now that all of a sudden becomes very meaningful. Now you can compare, you can look for the currency you might be most interested by looking for the axis tag at the very bottom, and then you see where the mid-range is, or the midpoints. It's easy to see the lowest, the high, the mid, and then begin to think about it historically, economically, what was happening in the world at that time that rates were so stable for this mid-range of currencies in the middle, the median, mode, and mean, and what was happening with the Great British Pound that it declined so much in that year versus the dollar, and the Iranian currency increased so much. Now you can get a sense for the kind of thinking that an economist or a government official or a large corporate treasurer, an importer, exporter, an investor, or a trader might be interested in knowing, and then you can begin to make your own conclusions so that they're more meaningful. And you can make decisions, very important and meaningful decisions that involve large sums of capital. So that's the sense of what I wanted to show you today, and I hope you enjoyed this brief presentation. I'd like to know what you think you could do better, how we could improve this, what would make a even more meaningful infographic with the same kind of data, and see how we can improve the rationale between conveying data analytics like this. That's all for now. All the best to you in all ways, always. Goodbye.